This is Kugan Cassius for iFLTV in association with Macklin's Gym Marbella. We're in Buckhurst Hill today. With me, I've got soon-to-be IBF super middleweight champion of the world, James Dirrell. First of all, you look very bronze and brown and tan.
Right. Yeah? A couple people said that to me. I think it's strong. Don't know why I look a bit tan. Yeah. Sun ain't been out.
Well, you look well.
Thank you. Trimming that, got a man fading that, innit?
Right, so yesterday was quite a significant day in your destiny to become world champion. There's a flip side to this. Obviously, the negative is that the home advantage side is now not possible. The positive side of it is that hopefully you will win a world title and earn a lot more money. Yeah. First of all, let's talk about the home advantage thing. You're obviously a little bit disappointed that it's not at the O2 on April 25th.
Of course I am. I'd love to box for a world title in my home city and win it. But in boxing, things happen that are out of your hands, and you can't help it. But listen, I'm more than happy going to America, boxing for a world title. Something that I've always wanted to do is go to America and box in a big show. Plus, I'm getting paid. It's crazy. It's like unbelievable. Probably if the fight would have been over here, probably wouldn't have got paid as much. And yeah, I'm just happy with the whole deal. Like, people keep on saying about home advantage and all that. Yeah, it's been fantastic to get home advantage, but I'm buzzing. Seriously, folks, I am buzzing. Like, boxing for a world title in America against a good fighter. That's what I want. That's what I thrive in, all that. I'm looking forward to it because a lot of people think that I've got no chance. I've seen a couple of tweets, seen a couple of articles, and people think I've got no chance going over there, boxing such a good fighter in his own backyard. But listen, I'm extremely confident. I know what I'm about. I know what I can do. So I'm looking forward to it.
Obviously, leading up to this purse bid situation, it was unfortunate that a deal couldn't have been reached between sort of your camp and their camp to put this fight on, without it going to purse bids. It did go to purse bids, but were you under the assumption that Matchroom, Eddie Hearn and Sky would get it? Yeah, would have get it, but they come up with a $3 million plus bid.
Eddie Hearn got blown out the water. Fucking hell, extra million. I'm not complaining, but yeah, bloody, he got blown out the water. It's crazy. I personally thought that he was going to win it with the 2.1. I think we was offering him. I think the highest offer we offered him was $700,000, which is good money for him. I don't think he's worth too much over there as well. I'm not too sure. Telly are dying for him to be shown their channel. So it's a man, I can't actually believe it. I'm still a bit shocked. Like, when Eddie Hearn rang me, actually my mum rang me and went, Al Heyman's bid $3.1 million, and I went, pardon? So straight away I'm thinking, I've got to box America, and then it all sinks in that, who gives a fuck? Getting paid, I'm boxing for a world title in America. I'm the underdog. Of course I am, right? Am I an underdog?
I don't know. I think if you was over here, I think it would be billed as a 50-50. I think going out there, it would probably slight put you Dirrell in. Well, slight put it in Dirrell's favour.
Yeah, so I'm a bit of an underdog, but I like that. My coach Jim keeps on going about what's the ragamuffin man's name? Is it Hunnigan? Hunnigan, isn't it?
Oh, Lloyd Hunnigan.
Lloyd Hunnigan going over to America and ripping the title off Don Curry. Yeah. Keeps on drilling it into me. Like, Chunk, good enough. It's your time, and you're going to do it. But listen, Coos, you know me. I'm confident in my ability. I know what I'm about. I know what I can do, and I'm just so excited.
You sound very excited. Date-wise, obviously, Eddie Hearn spoke to him yesterday and he said there's a 15-day period where the date and the venue has to be announced. There was talk of a potential April the 24th, whether that is or not, we're yet to see. But is there anything that's happened since sort of yesterday regarding this?
I've seen things on Twitter and that's talking about they want to stick this fight on his brother's bill, which is a good idea. Like, both brothers, one's defending, one's boxing for a world title. That's a good idea, and that drops perfect with me as well because I've been training, I've been in camp, I've been living like a hermit for the past 6 weeks already. So another 6 weeks on, that would be perfect. 12-week camp, be lovely. But I just hope I don't have to wait longer to like the end of May, beginning of June. I hope not. I think the latest they can do it is the 2nd of June. So Eddie Hearn thinks it's going to be end of April, beginning of May. So if that works out around that time, that's a perfect day for me.
Are you aware of the network situation going on in regards to, obviously, I asked Eddie Hearn yesterday about, because Box Nation have been showing the Premier Boxing Champions fights, which is obviously by Al Heyman, whether this classes under one of those fights, because they've been showing those fights. I don't know how long the deal is for, but there could be a situation where, I don't know, potentially we don't know what network the fight could be on.
Well, obviously, being a Sky fighter, please God, it's on that. And listen, Eddie Hearn, listen, I leave that in his hands. You know what I'm saying? I hope it's not on Box Nation. I hope it's on Sky. But if it is on Box Nation, so be it. Like, but obviously, I want it to be on Sky. But you would think though that they were negotiating for 3 or 4 weeks. Yeah. You would think Al Heyman would let Sky and Eddie Hearn buy. Yeah,
I'm not sure of the situation. Right? Yeah, the only reason,
but you never know.
The only reason that the question was asked is obviously because the NBC network, the terrestrial TV network in America, the last show, Box Nation show, they're showing this week. So I don't know how long they're showing it for, and I don't know whether your fight qualifies under that at all. That's the only reason a lot of people were asking the questions. So I suppose these questions will be answered before, you know.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's much before the 15 days. Eddie Hearn thinks he'll know in the next 5 days. So hopefully we'll know a lot more in the next couple of days.
How are you going to set out your camp?
Well, I was talking to my mum and dad and Jim about this yesterday. I'm not too sure. I've told you I've been training solid, living like a hermit, training extremely hard for the past 6 weeks. Obviously, I'm going to go out there a couple of weeks before. I've got a couple of things planned prior to that. I'm meant to be going down. I've booked a week down St George's Park where England hold their camp and train down there. The facilities down there are unbelievable. The staff, the physios, the nutritionists, everything is all down there, and they're nice. They're a nice group of people. So hopefully, I'll go down there. I think that's the 23rd. I'm going down there for a week just to break camp up. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes it gets a bit boring and a bit boring. So it's nice to break shit up. But so I've got that for a week. There's even talks of going to Marbella, but I'm not too sure because obviously if it's abroad now. In America, I'd have to go a couple weeks before, so probably cut out the Marbella, do the St George's thing, and go to America 2 weeks before. So, I'm gonna have to see.
Okay, I'm going to backtrack a little bit from obviously yesterday. I spoke to George Groves in Berlin regarding this whole situation because originally the fight sort of everyone wanted was the Ewan Groves rematch on the 25th of April. The whole purse split situation where George thinks that he was wanting of more than a 50-50 split. So I was just wanting your side of that, really.
There's not much to say. I actually lose words for the boy. Seriously, the guy was offered £2 million, which is crazy. It's crazy. The guy turned it down. He thinks he's worth more. It's mind-boggling. It is. It's crazy, but I don't care about. Like, obviously, it would have been nice for the British boxing fans, for me and Groves, to box for a world title. But the idiot turned down £2 million. It's crazy. People don't know what he's thinking. Like, I think, do you know what? He calls me deluded, and he's been calling me that for a long time. But he has lost the plot. He has lost the plot. Like, we're in boxing for the big fights, the big money. You know what I'm saying? We're prize fighters. That would have been a massive fight, and he would have earned a lot of money, but he turned it down.
He believed that he was deserving more of a 50-50 split. But do you believe that a 50-50 split was bang on fair?
He's lucky I won't ask for a 64-week because his last 2 performances, he just boxed for a world title twice, been knocked out twice, the idiot. Asleep cold at Wembley. You know what I'm saying? My last 2 performances been against 2 decent opponents. One was unbeaten. One boxed for a world title 6 months prior me. I'm the one in form. I'm the one that people is talking about. George Groves just got obviously a bit of a name. The pay-per-view was good. Done well at Wembley, but come on, let's be real. Like, everyone knows George Groves because of me, right? Yes or no? Of course it is. Because if I weren't, everyone knows George Groves of me. he keeps on going like, oh, you know, I'm a better name. I'm a better athlete than the gal. Everyone knows me. Like I've been boxed at the highest level. Like everyone knows me. I boxed at the Wembley, sold 80,000 tickets. It's me. I should get 60-40. But
I think you both come to prominence from your first fight. That's when you really sort of got onto the stage of people really knowing who you were from your first fight, and then who's gone on.
yeah, well, you tell me. I don't know because
I mean, I know. Listen, George's
you're a
box.
fan, so you should be telling me. I should be telling you. I want to hear from you, Coop.
Listen, it's difficult because obviously George
You're
has
a boxing
boxed.
man, you know your shit. So I want to know from you.
George has boxed for 2 world title since, and obviously.
When you mention George Grove's name, I always get mentioned, right? Yes or no?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
But vice versa.
Yeah, of
Vice
course.
versa, yeah.
So you can't expect more money. That's stupid. Do you know what it's called? Greediness. Sometimes you've got to strike while the iron's hot. Yeah, and the fight was there for a world title, and he's refused it. It's crazy.
You see, obviously, Dirrell as a far more difficult fight than George Groves, in your opinion?
Of course, yeah, definitely. Dirrell's tricky, awkward, a very talented boxer. His skill level's very, very high, very high. A former medalist at the 2004 Olympic Games. Professional record nearly perfect, apart from the one loss to Carl Froch, which a lot of people thought he won. This guy's skilled, man. He's a good fighter. A tricky fight, but as I say, it's one that I'm confident of winning. But it is going to be a tough, hard night's work.
Another issue was the venue situation. George felt that the fight between the pair of you was bigger than something like the O2 20,000. It was more of a stadium fight. Whether it's Wembley Stadium, I don't know, but it was bigger. Do you agree with that, or does it sell 20,000 and that's what...
It could probably sell 50,000, of course. But as I said, sometimes you've got to strike when iron's hot. Maybe that scenario won't happen again. That's what I'm saying. He's going to earn a lot of money. He's going to be at the O2, where he beaten me before. Perfect for him. But you tear it down. And I just sometimes wonder how his mind works. But who am I to say anything to George Groves?
Hopefully you become world champion when your date is set. Hopefully George becomes world champion. But is a fight with Groves, if you had a world title, George doesn't have a world title, does that fight still appeal to you without him having a world title? And he doesn't, does the fight still appeal to you?
If I'm going to earn money, yeah, why not? And if the British public want to see it, why not?
But if you've both got world titles, which is what he said, obviously that fight is then 100 times bigger than...
Maybe that won't happen. Yeah. Maybe that won't happen.
A lot has to happen for that to be in that position.
So he obviously believes in himself and he believes in me as well.
Will we see the fight, in your opinion, that rematch? Will we see it? Just a final question on that. Do you think we will see it?
Will we see me and George Grove? Eventually, yeah. But I'm not too sure. Yeah. Maybe we will.
Okay, from a fan point of view, that's good to hear.
But I want to know your opinion. What do you think should have happened?
To be honest, listen. Your perception of that person. Hold on, I'm going to tell you. No, hold on. Let me tell you. That purse situation, etc. You may think that you're deserving of a 60-40 split. George may think he's deserving of a 60-40 split. From an outside perspective, I suppose you can look at a 50-50 split as a fair split. I think you can look at that as a fair split. But he'll have arguments to counter that, and I'm sure you could have arguments to counter that as well.
Yeah, but how? I'm confused. How? What? Because he's boxed on... he's boxed on a pay-per-view show at Wembley.
That's what I was saying. You said like you could probably counter arguments why you'd be a 60-40 split if it was that, and he has as well. So, but from an outside perspective, if someone said, look, it's a 50-50 split between George and James, I think I'd say, well, that seems fair. That seems fair. But anyway, moving on from that, have you obviously is Carl Froch somewhere in the pipeline, in your head somewhere?
I go out to America and I win my world title. I come back. That's still a massive fight. But I didn't realise he's nearly 38. He's getting on. But he lives the life. So I'm saying he lives the life. He lives well. He's always in the gym, always training. So down the line, at the end of the year, beginning of next year. You know what? I don't want to look too far ahead.
Yeah, of course.
But obviously, I win this world title. there's some massive fights. There's some good money to be earned, and yeah. So
yeah, look, I know. Listen, I'm only just asking you about Froch because I'm, you know,
yeah.
Well, listen, that's before last year. This was
Of course.
what we thought was going to happen. You and Froch, and you know, vacated the title, and then things moved on from there. But you seem happy. You genuinely seem happy. I spoke to you on the phone yesterday, and you don't seem, like I said, you said if you can beat him in the O2, you can beat him in America.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like this is a tricky fight, Coogs. It is a tricky fight, but one that I'm very confident of winning, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. Do you know, it just feels like I can't. I wish it was next week or in a couple of weeks' time. I just want to know. I just want to know the date. I want to know. I just want to get out there, like, and get in there. I just want to fight. I've been training for 6 weeks already, like living like a hermit, twice a day, weekends off, like just on it. Ain't been doing nothing. Ain't really had a social life, which don't bother me anyway. But
You ain't got a social life anyway, have you?
oh, thanks. Oh, there you go.
I never see you out anymore. I ain't seen you out for ages.
No,
Last Friday.
never. Oh, yeah, like we said.
I'm joking. He weren't out last Friday. Saturday he was out.
And Sunday.
And Sunday. Joke.
But no, yeah. Listen, as Jim says, like when you live like that, it gives you that edge, don't it? And it does. It does give you that edge when you sacrifice certain things, food, women, sex, going out with your friends, socialising. You get that edge. And I'm feeling that edge already. Trust me, feeling it. I'm eager.
It's good. It's good. All right. Last thing. The last thing I'm going to ask you about Mayweather Pacquiao. Everyone's obviously it's taken over the internet. Well, they've got a press conference today actually. May the 2nd in Las Vegas.
I hope you've got some bits and pieces from the.
We're trying. We're going to try. We're going to try. By any means necessary, we're going to try. But you excited about that fight?
I am very excited. It's another fight. It feels like it should happen a couple of years ago when they're in their prime. Once again, they're getting older. They're not getting any better. But an intriguing fight and a fight that everyone wants to see. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Obviously, I'm a Mayweather man. I think he's an unbelievable fighter. I think he's going to retire undefeated. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, Chunky. Thank you very much for talking to iFLTV. Yeah. You were 2 hours late today.
It's your fault.
Is it?
Yeah, it's your fault. You come too early. Why on earth was you here at 1 o'clock?
I know. I know. All right, you was an hour late then. All right. Well, listen, we'll obviously keep posted on news of a date, venue, and then I suppose...
I hope you're coming to America, you or James.
I can promise you that one or me or James will be at your fight. So iFLTV will be at the fight. So we've got a couple of other fights to divvy around us. So,
but I know I'm your favourite. I know you will try your best to get there.
One of us will be there, James. One of us will be there. We could not be there. All right. Well, listen, James Segal, thanks for talking to iFLTV. Best of luck with the rest of your camp, and hopefully we'll catch up with you, like I said, at a later date.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.